How did you do again?
Here we go. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is April 29th, and as promised, I'm back on the sit down with Threada Morgan Young,
Hello, good
the
morning.
famous children's book author for You Matter. I'm excited to have you on the show, Morgan. First things first, how are you doing? Let's kind of, how was the drive here? It's kind of raining outside today.
I know. Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. The drive was horrendous, shall I say, because we had to pass by a car accident. We had to pass by a lot of traffic, and as you said, it was raining, but I made it earlier than I expected. So thank you so much once again for having me. And yeah, I'm ready to talk about the book and discuss things with you further.
Okay. And speaking about the book, what actually is the children's book about? Like, what's the moral of the story? Like, what message are you trying to send to the children?
So I feel like I can't really give that without giving a background.
Okay, well, go out here. I'm gonna let you go ahead and give your background. Do your thing.
So basically, I was writing another children's book because I felt that me having a public health background and me being from Detroit, Michigan, I grew up around a lot, and me coming from Black family, I grew up around a lot of Blackness, shall I say?
Blackness.
Blackness. What do I mean by that? Black excellence.
Yeah.
And I was poured into as a young child from my community and my family, shall I say. So I always knew it was my purpose and my mission to pour back into my community the same way I was poured into.
Right.
So I thought the best way to do that was to educate children of color through food, because a lot of the health issues we see in our community, it's okay. A lot of health issues we see in our community is because of diet. So I was like, how can I empower children of color through food?
Right.
But unfortunately, around this time last year, George Floyd was murdered, and it was put on for the whole world to see.
Right.
And when I actually took time to watch that video, I cried. I cried for hours, actually. And I thought to myself, I'm an adult. I don't know how to process this. So how are children processing this? What are they taking from this, especially children of color? For me, I took it as I don't matter.
Just police brutality in general, or just racism?
Racism, police brutality.
Right.
I mean, all of it is hegemonic imagery. So we're continuing to see this constant rhetoric of, we don't matter, we're less than, and then also too, it's easy because of those images, it's easy to criminalize us, it's easy to demonize us, it's easy. I mean, honestly, I can't remember the statistic, but on average, the same child is 11 years old in white versus Black. The Black child is actually viewed as older. So I'm like, okay, why are we viewing them this way? So in my mind, I said, well, I'm going to flip the book that I already wrote, and I'm going to write something else. And because I actually didn't want to write a book because growing up, my mom, is just kind of funny. It's not funny, but my mom didn't let me my mom didn't let me play with white Barbie dolls. My mom was very extreme, and she was like, I want you to know you're Black. I want you to embrace all of you. And so she was very big on me accepting and understanding my Blackness, especially because I went to school in the suburbs.
Right.
So she's like, you live in the city, girl. You grew up in the hood, but, and I want you to know who you are, and I don't want you to get lost in translation as you're going back and forth between the two communities and the two demographics.
And I don't mean to cut you off,
Go ahead.
but you're in Chicago, but you're from Detroit, correct?
Yes.
Just giving the
yes, I'm Detroit all day, No, I'm joking. So I say that to then say, I came here for college and whatnot. So anyway, so as I was going back and forth between this 45-minute drive, almost an hour between the two communities, she wanted to make sure I stayed in tune with where I came from.
Okay.
So going back to the book, when I was writing my other book, I didn't want to write something that was cliche. I didn't want to be like, because a lot of books I noticed for children of color, they pour into or they highlight our characteristics, like, our skin, our hair, and then embracing our physical characteristics. So I took this book, so getting to my point.
Can I see
yeah, go ahead.
I just want to kind of
go ahead. You haven't even really seen it yet. I wanted to go through all the aspects of it, especially being a Black woman that pursued a STEM field. I'm in predominantly white classrooms. I'm one of 3, if I'm lucky, Black students in general, and usually I'm the only female. So I'm, a little bit more discouraged to say what I had. And I'm a very outspoken person. I'm very, I don't mind speaking up for myself. So for me to be shy, it made me really have to fill out the room and fill out, what's going on here.
You being shy?
I know. I know. So that's because I felt intimidated. I felt insecure. And as a Black person in this space, I didn't feel like my ideas mattered. So, you know, there's pages in my book. So going to my book though. So
let's go ahead and get
let's get to it. So so basically I really took time to discuss you know, your life matters, your ideas matter. And I was very, very, very particular about imagery. As you can see, there's a young man meditating. There's a young lady speaking in front of her classroom. And one thing that's very, 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 very important to me in this book is you see young Black boys in a softer manner. I wanted to show that, yes, Black boys cry. It's okay. Yes, we can comfort each other.
I don't cry. Nah.
Right. I know.
One tear,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I know the gangster tear, right? No, so with that being said, I was really particular about the images. And when I got my, you know, I cannot draw, so I can do stick figures. They're really cute. But I had to. I wanted to get a Black illustrator. She's actually also from Detroit. She's a little bit older than me. I actually reached out to her son. I went to college with him, and he was busy, so he referred me over to her, and it ended up being a perfect fit. But I wanted her to portray my vision, and she did it very well.
She did an excellent job.
So
I know y'all can't really see the pictures that I'm looking at in the book for real. I mean, I'm kind of giving y'all a glance, but the illustrations are really, really good. And who was it? Margaret, right?
It's actually Marguerite. We used to get into it because I was like, Margaret? No, it's okay. It's Marguerite. It's
and she's responsible for this as well.
Yeah, so she's responsible for the whole thing. So what she did, because I wanted to make sure because the book is primarily illustrations, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just my little words, and then I kind of got swamped over or overlooked with somebody else's idea of what I wanted. Okay. So for each page, I specifically told her, I want this like this. I want this. So I allowed her some creative realm, but I wanted everything that I wanted to be portrayed in the book. So that's why I love my book, is my point, because it's my vision from start to finish. And I'm just so grateful and humbled that she was able to make sure my vision came alive. So yeah, that's how it feels. So
when did you, I know you kind of touched on like how you was writing when you was younger, but was this actually your first book, or did you kind of like write a book when you was a child and just the kind of thing you used to do for fun, and then, you know, now you decided to take it serious? Or when did you actually know like writing is something that I really want to do?
I've actually always been a strong creative writer. So when I was younger, I wrote a book about my mom. You know, my mom was a single parent. Like I said, I grew up in Detroit, and she lost her home when the economy crashed, the Great Recession, as we like to call it. And she refused to pull me out of private schools. So with that being said, I remember writing for, I think it was like a midterm or something in middle school, and my teacher, she fell in love with it, and she has shared it amongst all the teachers. She said, this is phenomenal. And I was basically talking about how it felt to, you know, being from a single parent household, being almost homeless at one point, you know. So it's just like, that's what I talked about. That was my experience, and that's when I was like, maybe I'm good at this. But I kind of got insecure because I wasn't a strong academic writer for a little bit, and so I equated my writing skills with my ability to do well in English classes and stuff like that. As I got older and I got much stronger in my writing, I was like, let me translate this over from, you know, my science and all that stuff to, you know, going back to creative writing. And so when COVID and the big quarantine, the initial quarantine / lockdown, that's when I started to kind of get back to it, and then it kind of transitioned on to this.
The lockdown. And it's crazy you say that. Well, I had another question, but you kind of hit it as you just kept going. So but it's crazy you said that, because a lot of ideas were kind of stirred up throughout the pandemic and the lockdown. Just being isolated from people and having to be to yourself, I kind of feel like that really helps generate ideas and brings out the creativeness inside of you. So that's what's up, because I feel like I came up with a lot of ideas through the pandemic as well. So in addition to that though, so what difference do you plan to make in your community? I know you was talking about how, you know, where you came from kind of influenced the book, you know what I'm saying? So now that, you know, we know where you came from, what do you plan to do in the future to help change? Like, this is a great start.
Yeah.
Putting out the message is the beginning. You get what I'm saying? Acknowledging the problem and delivering the message. But now it's time to, when it comes to action, what type of action, plan of action do you have in order to, you know, improve the community, not only here, but Chicago, Detroit as well. I'm sorry. Okay. Because between Chicago and Detroit, they're probably two of the most worst cities in the United States.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, is being an author the only lane that you really feel will, really reach the community like you want to, or is there other things that you plan on doing? I looked on your page on Instagram. I kind of saw like you do a little modeling and things like that. So what other things do you have planned in order to like bring people together and things of that nature?
Yeah, great question. So for me with this book, I actually plan on doing a community. So long-term goals with this is like you said, the starting point. I want to create more books.
Mm-hmm.
I want my books to be in schools. I want my books to be in actually psychology, psychiatrists, therapists, offices for children. I've actually had people come up to me and be like, this is like what we need, especially like with those that are trying to find themselves, identity, etc. On top of that, and ideally in June, I will be having an event. Community events are a big thing for me. So having field events, getting the kids out there and having productive outlets for them. And getting them active. Given the fact that I do have that public health background, I am really big on fitness and eating well and those. Oh no! Yes.
No, that's good. That's good.
And so that's a big thing for me because I feel like if you feel good, it reflects in how we go about our lives.
That's how you react.
Yes,
that's how you respond.
So for me, having nonprofits, having these community builders, these community activities where the kids are, I think, going to be a big thing for me. And using my books as a foundation to not only finance, but also, really sponsor those events. And I think that in the grander scheme of things, the images in themselves hopefully will begin to allow children of color to see more of themselves in books and TV and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So I feel like when you have a stronger understanding of self, you can go about your life in a more, I wouldn't say productive, but a stronger understanding allows you to not be, you're more rooted, so you're less likely to be thrown off of whatever course you choose to be. I mean, it's life.
And not only that, you're portraying Black men to be basically telling them to be themselves.
Yes.
You don't have to be what society tells you to be.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? And,
Exactly.
I admire that as well about the book. Quick pause before we keep going. If you're watching this stream on Instagram Live or Facebook Live, go ahead over to the YouTube Pay to Play channel and go ahead and join the live stream. If you have any questions for Morgan, go ahead and type them in the stream. We'll get those questions answered. But going back into it though, so I've been waiting to ask you this question. I just been kind of letting you talk. So making a children's book, you have to like kids, right?
Oh, I love kids.
Okay.
I love kids.
Man, that would have been terrible. Like, I can't stand
it. I know. Like, girl, what you doing?
Right, yeah. So what made you like kids? Was it like younger siblings, cousins? Did you work at a daycare, or like what did that come about in your life?
Great question. So I've always loved kids. I've always watched kids. Like when I was younger, I would like volunteer at camps. I would always babysit my cousins. But for me personally, I am an only child. So I think that being an only child, I had only myself.
Okay.
I had to protect myself. I had to, especially growing up in the city, I had to do a lot of things by myself. So for me, I guess maybe create a certain compassion and understanding for other children. I don't know if that's what influenced it, because I felt like I was always kind of like the vulnerable one that needed somebody to be there by my side. I didn't necessarily have that, but I'm saying because I didn't have that, I would have liked that. So I think that maybe created a very protective nature for me, feeling like I have to protect all children. I don't know, but I love kids. My nanny actually stole my copy of my book. I didn't have any on me from one of the
You're
kids.
You're a nanny as well?
Yeah, I nanny.
You want to promote your nanny?
Oh, yeah, like, I nanny y'all. I nanny. I'm a nanny. No, I'm joking. But
y'all gonna let her watch y'all kids? I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, yes, we want her. But no, overall though, yeah, that's actually what was one of the reasons why I decided to write the book as well, because I am around a lot of children and I see myself and the insecurity that I once had and the uncomfortable. So this doesn't necessarily hit all of that, I just understand the importance of images for children. I understand the importance of images and what they're like sponges right now. especially when they're, I mean, primarily when they're younger, of course, but this book is, you know, I've had adults buy this book. I've had little people buy this for their like newborn babies, so to have when they get older, but primarily for those that can take it and process it, I would say about 4 to 5, all the way up to 12, you know, 13. So with that being said, like, those are to me crucial years that, you know, that what they're taking in. I mean, your socialization is, I mean, now, I mean, your socialization is kind of forever ongoing, but specifically between those ages. So I knew that this was going to be pivotal and needed. So, yeah.
Man, I wish we could take a tablet out of all these kids' hands and put your book in there.
I mean, yeah, I was actually talking to my mom the other day because I was like, you know, I feel like the millennials, we always get I feel like we get mixed in with Gen Z and we get, you know, and people are like, oh, you guys are so, no, I think actually millennials, I feel like we are very dynamic group of people because we got the old school, you know, we didn't come out popping out with the cell phones. That came a little bit later. Yeah. We were going outside and playing. We were reading books. We were, you know, we were watching PBS and Sesame Street. I feel like they still do, but you get the point. So I say that to then say, but then the technology did become, you know, become a part of our life, shall I say. So I feel like we're able to adapt and understand the consistent, ever-changing motions of technology while also understanding the old school ways, practices, foundations, principles, morals, ethics, etc., that come with, you know, our parent generation and those a little bit older than us. So I think our generation is actually at a strong advantage because we're the bridge point between the two generations. And I feel like that's why we're going to continue to be a very successful generation. A group of, I wouldn't say kids, but a group of adults, young adults.
I'm inspired.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, when you're doing stuff like this, Morgan, it's like, it seems you got it going on for real, you know? So it's like, thank you. When can we expect the next book? Or will it be a children's book, or will it be, you know, just for the people?
Yeah. You know? Well, the other book is actually already written. I wrote it last year before this one, so it's already completed. It's a matter of like finding illustrators, time. Because y'all, I thought writing a book was about to be you type it up, draw it out, we done in 2 weeks. No. And no. So it was a process, like. And I tell people, when people call and ask me, like, oh, like, how'd you do that? Like, I tell people, like, well, I had to learn type thing. But on top of that, I don't mind sharing the information. I love sharing information. I feel like knowledge is power. I cannot stress that enough. I feel like, I don't know why people hoard on to things and hide things. I'm not that way. I'm a type of person. If I know it, you gonna know it. But anyway, I have actually had my book on pre-order from, like, June, like, May all the way up to when the book released in September. Yeah. But anyway, I say all of that to then say, I know you're like, girl, get the point.
No,
but yeah, no, I say this to then say, I hopefully will have the book out by the end of this year, if not sooner. But it was just a matter of getting a new budget because books are not cheap. They're not cheap. Illustrator and just, you know, I guess the time the effort, because I was up at night approving pictures, approving this, approving that, taking this away. So it's time consuming for sure. But it was one of the best things I could have done. I mean, to say that I became a book author at 23 years old, that's
a big accomplishment.
And actually, I think it's really cool because I know you're an author as well. There's only 4% of authors are Black. And we are part of that 4%. And I'm so humbled and I'm so honored to, you know, and even though this is the beginning and, you know, the next book will be a children's book / it's a storybook / cookbook. So the
oh, you can cook. Yeah. I heard you can cook.
Oh, gosh. No, but actually I won't be making the recipes. I have a friend and she has a catering company now, but at the time when I asked her to do the book, she had a blog and Shawny can cook. I am not gonna lie.
Well, did you bring a plate?
I know, I'm sorry. I forgot the car. I got you later. But no, overall she can cook. So she's gonna make my recipes for me, but the whole point of it is for it to be interactive. So the foods, the healthy foods that they read about, let's say the character's name is Taylor and she's eating a vegan pizza, let's just say. That same recipe, they can go in the back and they'll say Taylor's Pizza, and then they can make that same recipe. So it's me indirectly encouraging healthy eating, introducing new food concepts, yada yada. So hopefully that'll be out by the end of this year.
And that's good for the community, our community as well.
Especially
because a lot of people in our community are ignorant.
Heart disease. And another thing too, not only are we not well educated in our food
Mm-hmm.
and how that does for us, or how that long term impacts us. I have to say impact is long term. Excuse me. We also don't always have the proper access to those resources. Food deserts are a thing. Food deserts are, for those that do not know, is when you're in a community, but you only have a bodega around the corner. And you don't have a car. You don't have proper transportation to go to the Meijer that's, let's say, an hour away from you. Let's just say. Right. So you're stuck in that specific area with those food resources. And then let's say, you're on food stamps, you got 4 kids, right? You're going to get the pasta and the saltier processed foods because you got to feed 4 kids. That's going to last you a minute.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. And if you only have so much money per month, and this is not everybody, but I'm just giving different scenarios because I feel like sometimes people think, well, Black people or people of color. No, it's also those access to those resources. Mm-hmm. And so I want to personally, even now as a young adult, I'm, that I have my own budget, stuff like that. I'm thinking, okay, well, I can get this bag of spinach. It's going to last me a couple days. Mm-hmm. Or I can get me whatever else. You know what I'm saying? So these are the choices that people unfortunately have to make that people don't always take into play. So anyway, so that's one of the books I'm looking at, or, we'll have by then this year. And I'm also looking at other books outside of children's book. I mean, being a young woman and going through this journey called life, growing pain, called life. I definitely feel like, there's a lot of books, self-help books for women, but I just feel like me writing my personal experience I'm very spiritual, from a spiritual perspective, could be very empowering to women, given the fact of where I was. And even like we all grow, I feel like I shouldn't be thinking the same way at 18 that I am at 24 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's just natural. Yeah. But I definitely see myself now that I've taken, going back to the pandemic and taking time, I started to really meditate more and really sit down, because growing up, I was doing this all the time. And I still am very hyper. That's why I know earlier you were like, I'm working, like shy. Yeah. Like the audience may not understand that, but I'm very, very outgoing. I'm very, very talkative.
So that it had to be hard being on lockdown by yourself.
How was it?
At first?
No, I never was. So okay. I actually.
You was never by yourself.
No.
So you never took COVID protocol.
No. I didn't mean like. No. I had 2 other roommates.
Okay.
So I didn't have to bear. Yeah. I mean, I was by myself.
Yeah. But see, the thing that I'm basically trying to see, the thing that I'm really getting from the overall message from this whole interview is, it's crazy how you gotta really look at things as a blessing and a curse. And
silver lining.
And being an author, I know you have the mindset of always seeing things in a positive light. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
So. And that goes with anything in life. You got to see it with a positive light. That's the only way you're going to continue to live and learn. You get what I'm saying? And progress. Now, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the pandemic, okay, it might have been difficult for some people to be by themselves at first. But let's look at the positive thing with this. Now you have more time to focus on yourself, which is what you did. Mm-hmm. Now you have time to knock out things that you've always wanted to do, to improve self-improvement. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I admire, like I said before, Morgan, you got a lot going on, and as long as you stick to what you're doing, I see you. You taking off, and you got the content.
Yeah.
You got the look. You know what I'm saying? You got the team behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank
So
God.
You got everything you need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All you have to do is continue to push, continue to grow.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But Morgan, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I know our audience wants to know where they can find You Matter. So could you go ahead and tell them, go ahead and shout out your Instagram.
Yes.
Tell them where to follow you on social media, how they can find the book, all of those things.
Of course. And one thing I want to just mention as well, I kind of sum up what you said too. All of this I'm able to do because of God. And I just always want to say that. I never want to not mention that, because yes, COVID, all this stuff, but I'm just grateful I was able to survive through that for this time. I'm still here to tell my story, and I'm just grateful that God brought me here today. So thank you for having me.
See, now you're gonna make me keep going.
Oh no.
Look, because the thing is, a lot of people feared not being able to go to church The church is closed down.
Yeah.
Now, I grew up going to church every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But my mother was really the one that loved being in church. My father was the one. He was always big on personal relationship. Your personal relationship with the Creator. You get what I'm saying? With God. So, and I really started realizing that when I went to college. You get what I'm saying? Because now I'm not forced to go to church no more. I'm not. You get what I'm saying? So I really had to build my personal relationship to stay in tune with what was for me. You know what I'm saying? To stay so I could walk in my light. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very glad you just said that.
I could go to.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk when the cameras go off. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead and let them know where to find you. Let them know where to get your book and all of that.
For sure. So yeah, my book, You Matter. You can find it on Amazon. Actually, exclusively on Amazon. We have a ebook version and we have a paperback version. I strongly suggest the paperback version. It has bonus pages in it, and I just I like the book. My Instagram is You Matter Children's Book. So at You Matter Children's Book. I have a personal Instagram so my first name, y'all. Let's get your pen and paper.
All of these things will be in the bio when the video gets posted on YouTube and things like that. So
perfect. So I will save us all the agony of that, but I'll just say Threada __young __. And when you do look up my book on Amazon. So I was like, where am I going? Amazon. There's actually tons of books titled You Matter, which I did not know that. When I made the book, I was like, oh wow, I thought I was the only one with this idea. But anyway, I put You Matter and then my first name after, so Threada Young, and it will pop up immediately. So yes, so thank you so much, Shawn, for having me. I'm so humble. Thank you.
Morgan, I have to ask you, whenever somebody comes on the show, I always like to give some type of pay-to-play shirt or mask, but it's different with you, so I want to kind of do a book swap.
Oh, do a book swap.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to trade you a pay-to-play book for the You Matter book.
Thank you.
And what I'm going to do is, I'm actually, when we get done talking here, I'm going to go read this to the children at the after-school program.
You are?
And so we're going to get real results, real reactions.
Yes.
I'm going to see how they really like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure they'll enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. But okay, yeah. So yeah, go ahead, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm glad our audience, people who came out today and watched the video, watched the live stream. I appreciate you. Stay tuned for more. Go subscribe and turn on your notifications for the Pay to Play YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date. And remember, what you put in is what you get out.